So if anybody knows what this is, you know, we have an issue. Hey, welcome back to more on Simmentals. This is Chris. All right, it is a fresh Monday afternoon. And Dad already baled hay today. It was only about 7 acres. He looks excited, as he do. All right, so we're actually gonna go and buzz up the hill. There's one field that's that he cut yesterday, but it's pretty grassy stuff. And it's been really nice and warm and sunny today, so there is a good chance that it might be dry. We're gonna jump in my truck, we're gonna go check it out, and then if it's good, then I'll rake it. Dad will probably take a fluids break, or he'll just come up there, wait for 15 minutes, let me get a couple rounds done, and he'll just start baling. Well, after checking that stuff is ready to rake. It's a little bit thinner and it's very, very grassy. I do need to check the diesel in the 2030. All right, Dad is gonna follow right behind, and then I'm just gonna start. There's 4 outside rounds, so I finished 2 outside rounds. I'm gonna do the inside outside round, and that way he can bail that up right away. Dad come down the hill because I don't have quite the 2 rows here, and I want to steal it from over here. So we'll let him go by, turn around, we'll take off. Hold on 1 second. It's just an obsession. I don't know what's going on here, but oh yeah. Nope, wrapped up nice. It's probably doing that because it's a little bit, I mean, it's kind of dry and stemmy. Very grassy. I don't know, I just like doing that. It's fun. Good bales. Baler's working good. So what I've been doing for Dad is actually raking 4s together. It's an extra pass for me, but if I set them up right, I can get it done in 3 passes. It's not ideal. It obviously says that the rows are really thin, but it makes a better windrow to bale it and less time for him. All right, so now I'm going and picking up both these rows and pulling them together. The only bad part is Dad's catching up to me. Baling went pretty decent. That field is another field that needs a little TLC. So we're at the farm. I forgot I need to get a bale for the calves. So, alrighty, it is Tuesday afternoon, and Dad started baling about a half hour ago. Now, probably about 20 minutes ago. So he's just up the hill on that nicer field. Should be pretty decent bales up there. All right, well, I don't know if I'm bad luck for Dad on this field or not, because the first bale I see him drop is the one that ends up in the ditch down there. Yeah, so Dad seems to be doing all right. All right, we're gonna head to the shop and we're gonna start taking the hydraulic hose off of the disc bind, because that other one leaks. I did a little cobble job to try and stop it a little bit. Didn't do squat. All right, I need a couple 9/16 wrenches, and that should be all I really need. I don't need to go back and forth too many times from one side of the tractor to the other, but I get the floor fan. That's all I get. Dad gets the AC. All right, disconnected. So we're gonna grab that ratchet strap that we used the last time. Nice thing too is it's got this elbow on it. So it kind of acts as a little bit of a catch for you. So I can just tie a knot, otherwise I'd be electrical taping the piss out of it. So this one is the one that we did last year or the year before. This is the one we just did, and this is the one we're doing. There we go. And we're gonna push this guy back this way, if I can. There we go. Yeah, perfect. Unfortunately, that's about as far as I can get with that project, because I don't have the hose. Otherwise, I'd just finish it. Well, we actually did get the hydraulic hose on, so everything that's this guy right here. Got the hole down there, and then there's one hole down right here, and we're connected there, so hopefully we don't leak. Bad thing about the swivel and the way you gotta go, this thing wants to pivot up, and I want that thing down a little bit, so. But we got it where we need it. I'm gonna close the windows on the 42. Dad I was just about to get on the four-wheeler to go out and move the cows, and Dad was coming down the hill. I'm like, cripes, you're done already? Which he was, but a few less bales than last year, unfortunately. But now we can go move the cows. Oh wait, that reminds me. I want to take the grass trimmer. I want to take the wild badger. There's one section of fence that usually needs a little bit of grass trimming. All right, so we're out getting ready to move the cows. This chunk, just because it's the last one, this is our furthest south line. I always want to do a double check on it, and then usually by the time we get to it, this grass has come up enough it could use a quick little trim. All right, so we got this line trimmed up decent. This is where driving the four-wheeler along really helps out, because you kind of give them that border, guides them, kind of tells them, hey, something's going on here, and then they recognize the fence a little quicker. But when they get into right there, they'll disappear. That's why I drive it down a little extra in that tall stuff at the end, and make sure the grass is trimmed, because they're not seeing anything when they come through there. All right, these guys are pretty chill. I think they're warm, which I don't blame them. So they're not super eager to get into fresh grass, but we're gonna give them fresh grass. So then I'm gonna leave up the old temp, the old temp, and then I'm gonna take this guy down. There's still a little bit out here where they can mull around, and especially on this chunk. This chunk's a little bit bigger than I normally would. It's like maybe 1.5 times bigger. So I'm kind of hoping I can get 3 days out of this. And then them coming back over here will help me to understand if they're out of grass. And then they go to the last chunk, which is about 4 days worth. Still got a little fly pressure on them, but it's not horrible. You know, some girls got a little more than others. The Factor's looking good. He's got a little bit of fly pressure on him, but not bad at all. And then I'm not worried about those couple of guys over there. Well, actually girls, but because I'm going to take that wire down. They won't have to worry about that. So, yeah, you can see they're into that deep stuff. It gets a little deeper as they go further south, but that's that reed canary, and they disappear. So it's, as long as it's green, it's good feed. Like, it'll be really good feed the next time we come through. All right, I have to leave my four-wheeler run, and if it shuts off, I have to pull start it. I might have to undo what I did the other day with my thumb warmers. It almost seems like I made it worse. I don't know how, but all right, cows moved, fence checked, fence good. Juice at like 7,000, so that's awesome. All right, good dose of fly spray on the yearlings. They got their grain. I think everybody's good for tonight, which is gonna work out because tomorrow it's supposed to storm. And all right, it is a soggy Wednesday afternoon. I did not have to stay at work late. I did have a dentist appointment this afternoon, which I don't know. Who is a fan really of the dentist? Not me. So I really didn't get out of there in time to go back to work and go to that meeting, so it wasn't a big deal. But it's been on and off raining all day long, so we're gonna check the rain gauge, and rain without thunderstorms. So far, 3/4 inch. But all I really need to do tonight is feed grain. Cows we're gonna shoot for another 2 days, so they shouldn't get moved for a couple days yet, which is nice. Yearlings are all stuck in the barn. And actually, I should double check that they're actually not stuck in the barn, like the stupid idiots didn't close a gate or something. Here come the yearlings. I think I got them up. You guys coming out? In the barn, we're by the squeeze chute. When I was editing the video that came out today, which is the last day we planted corn, so the one thing I noticed, we also pulled cedars in that video. So if we get any kind of wind that's coming inside the barn, whether it's a south wind, an east wind, we get a lot more east or south wind than we do like a west wind, especially this time of year. In the wintertime, we'll maybe get a little bit more north wind. But any wind that potentially is going to funnel into the barn affects this guy right here. So this is just, it is just on a hinge, and it just comes up here. You know, cows come into the chute, and then we can close it if you know, we're trying to weigh something, and they'll stop. I mean, we don't have, you know, worst case scenarios, you know, they'll push all the way up to the chute, gates closed, they can't go anywhere. But what happens is the wind will catch this and it'll blow the thing shut. Dad and I chatted that day, and he's like, we should just put a spring on that thing. So I got one of these. It's the same spring that's on this one. So, I mean, there's not a lot of resistance there. There's nothing. It's got a lot of stretch, but we'll still keep the door closed. Now, we don't like leaving it that way because the idiots out there will push the door open and they'll get themselves in here. So we still have the deadbolt on there to lock it shut. So we want to put one of these guys, you know, like somewhere like here. You know, it doesn't matter where it is when it's all the way open like this. You know, so maybe we're, you know, gonna hook it like somewhere here or whatever, but it's just gonna prevent it, wherever we put it, it's gonna prevent it from blowing open, or blowing closed, I should say. So all the way open, blowing closed, we don't like that. But wherever we want, and then that'll help keep that door open. All right, happy Thursday, happy Friday Eve, everybody. We're gonna head down to the shop. Our buddy that does some of our tractor work, he's checking out he's taking a look at the 42, just from a AC perspective. All right, back from the shop. So no definitive answers, but what he thinks is possibly that the valve that turns off our heat is actually not turning all the way off. Right now, just filling up the water. Dad's gonna bring the 42 down, and we're gonna fill that thing up with diesel so that he can cut hay tomorrow. And then we still have the brush hog on the Mahindra, but we're gonna back it down into the ditch and just see what it does. Some of that brush is like, it's 1/2 inch diameter stuff. Assuming we're probably gonna break some shear pins here, but that's probably all we should break. I mean, that's the point of a shear pin. Is it gonna be a little rough? Maybe. This is also why we don't really sharpen our blades. We just want it to explode whatever we're chopping up. So yeah, and you know how I've been having battery issues or starting issues with my four-wheeler? You know, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna pull that battery. I'm just gonna get a new one, whatever. Screw it. Pull it out. Finally got a good look at what the year was when I bought it, because they etch it in on the top usually. 2022. So it is a 4-year-old battery. I guess it's time. Okay. All right, we're gonna try and just see what happens when we dive into this. This is just because of how much water there's been the last couple years. We haven't been able to get in and cut this. Unfortunately, some of that stuff is almost 1 inch in diameter. So we're gonna find out. It's gonna be interesting. All right, we have no idea how well this is gonna work, if it's gonna work at all. I think we're gonna go up on the top here. But the problem is when we're in at the end of the lane or at the end of my driveway, we don't see real well up the road. It's actually going pretty well, but this is what we're hoping happens, is it blows up those ends. Well, that actually didn't go too bad. There is one that doesn't let us move over in a certain spot. I got to get that with the chainsaw. And while Dad was putting out cornstalk bale, I was doing a little cleanup work. Hadn't gotten to this yet. I knew there was some rocks in here. I actually missed one, hit it with the lawnmower. And then I knew that board was in here. So just to get this cleaned up, and now I can cut this probably on a bi-weekly basis. Don't cut that one too often because that's more considered farm grass. So, but well, now that it's gone through once and I know what's there and what's not there. And then cutting alongside that ditch, honestly, if we could have gotten to that last year, even, we would have been able to cut everything we wanted to. If we could have gotten to it 2 years ago, it would look almost like a lawn. But it's just getting in that routine of cutting it every year, and it would just literally be grass. All right. Normally I would say happy Friday, but that's about as far as you're gonna get. This is what we're looking for, folks. We might have lucked out a little bit, maybe. So if anybody knows what this is, you know, we have an issue. We've got, this is like I want to say an 8-acre strip in here, 8-9 acres or so. This is one of the strips that we want to try out this is one of the strips we want to try the brilliant cedar on, because it needs some fresh seed. It needs a little TLC. We got to lime it, fertilize it, all that kind of stuff, but it does need some fresh seed because there's not a lot of decent stuff. So Dad's been on here for a while. He's got most of it cut. He's on his last strip and he lost all hydraulics. Well, that wasn't the greatest. Our local John Deere dealer is a half hour away, and they have everything but the pins on the motor side. So we're gonna go grab those tomorrow, probably pretty early. They open at 7:30. We're gonna be there pretty much when they open, which takes me to the four-wheeler. So yesterday I couldn't even start the stupid thing. I was able to get the oil that I wanted, which hopefully this weekend I can find a little time and change the oil on this guy. But yeah, apparently it helps to have a battery that's not 4 years old. You know, so yeah, that was a good deal. It wasn't a good deal to buy. It was still like $120 battery. And it's not like I buy a super high-end one either, but 4 years on a battery for an ATV or a four-wheeler, I mean, I'll take it. Once I realized it was from 22, I was like, oh, okay, let's get a new battery. But I got to throw a little fuel in this guy, and then I do want to take some mineral out there because I know definitely low on trace. So I've got a selenium block, and then I've got more of the Redmond trace with garlic. Oh, this is what I'm coming up to. This got a little loose. They bumped that a little bit. That's all right. But with the rain we got the other day, this got a little bit sloppy, but you know, that's why they call it a sacrifice area. Oh, well, it is a darn good thing I brought everything because they need everything. All right, so this is about what, a 3-acre field, give or take. But what I usually do with this one, the last couple of years I've just been dividing it in half. There is so much stuff on here. Like, Dad gives me grief, like this would be an amazing field to bale. It's just, that's just how it is. I mean, you've got so much fertilizer on here every year that you should, I mean, this is what we should be dealing with. I mean, and it is getting a little bit mature. You know, some of these tops, you know, are definitely a little mature, but you know, they'll eat the stuff on the bottom and they'll trample the stuff they don't like. But the goal is I'm just going to split this in half, and I think I need to go right about there. We're going to go 2 days here, and then we'll take the center line down, and then they can have 2 days of fresh stuff, and then between what's left over here and here, we should get 5 total days out here. But I don't want to just let them out and say, hey, have the whole thing for 5 days, because I want to force them to eat as much as possible off of the field, off the first chunk, and then they're definitely not going to go back. They're going to want the fresh stuff, regardless of if it's older or not. They're going to want that stuff first, and then over the next 2 days, they'll take care of it. And it's worked out pretty good, and that's usually how I do run it. In this field, for whatever reason, I have taken that center line down and like, hey, you guys can go back and take care of what you missed before. But I haven't done that in any of my other chunks before. And actually, as I was putting in my one corner post here, this guy, there was a 4-leaf clover right here. And it's already in my pocket, so. All right, we need to stretch this out and get these guys on fresh grass so they are out of the mud and hopefully away from irritating flies. All right, we got everybody out there without incident. They look pretty content. There is like 18-inch tall white clover in there. Belly button high Timothy and ryegrass. There's some chest high reed canary, knee-high bluegrass. There's definitely some good variety in there. Some nice stuff. So. And this was the chunk they were on about 4 days ago. So typically you'll see the clovers start popping first. So it's nice to see that that stuff's coming. I mean, we definitely needed a little shot of rain, which we got. The ditch has got some standing water in it, so it's good to see them move on to new territory where they don't have to cross that ditch anymore. So that's nice. I think I did a little better job managing that ditch this year also. All right, I gotta feed grain here quick, the little bit that's left. This is nice having a four-wheeler that starts when it's supposed to. This weekend, fixing tractor and baling some hay. And probably picking up some bales too. Then the following week is going to be a lot of hay, a lot of freaking hot weather. So much so, next week is supposed to be Wisconsin's Farm Tech Days. And it's in Stratford, which is only a half hour away. Actually, we're going to be in Stratford tomorrow morning. But it's supposed to be so flipping hot. I mean, you're going to be dead after 2 hours. And that's no fun for anybody. So I'm going to see where that is next year, and hopefully it's close enough that we can go next year. Because it's been like 4 years since we've been there, and it'd be nice to get back there and get to another one. They're always a good day, and we always like to go for the day. We get there early when the gates open, and then, we're there for most of the day, and then we're home around 4 or 5 o'clock. So we'll see. But this year it's probably not in the cards. It's supposed to be like 90 and humid, and sunny and dry. But yeah, I hope you guys liked the video. Please, on your way out, smash that like button, help support the channel. And if you got any questions, by all means, drop them in the comments. And definitely don't forget to subscribe. Help support us here at Ohrmundt Simmentals. Help us get to our goal of 4,000 subs by the end of the year with your help. And as always, thanks for coming along.